What's up, Dirt Trax Nation? Luke here, bringing you guys a walk around once again. This time it's on an all-new model from a company that we've had a lot of involvement with, but haven't done a whole lot of test rides on, and that's going to change this season. But for right now, we've got a walk around on ARGO's brand new Magnum XF1000 LE. And this is, before I even get started, a serious contender in the full-size utility category. It's got some features nobody else has. It's got specifications that rival the best. And it is a very, very nice looking, nicely put together side-by-side that, again, I think could rival any of the big, more, I guess, common brands, let's say. That's not to say that ARGO isn't common, but yeah, this thing's impressive, and this is ARGO's newest model. I think it's quite a way to break into the full-size utility segment. So let's go over some specs to get started. It is a 999cc V-Twin that puts out 83 horsepower. That's best-in-class horsepower by one. Obviously, it's a full-size chassis. We got 27-inch Maxxis big horns wrapped around 14-inch aluminum wheels. I guess I should say, before I go any further, that for right now, the LE is the only version of this available, though there will be other models in the future. And I do want to point out this is available right now in dealers. It's already been shipped. It's there. You can go buy one if you like this walk-around video and it inspires you. So anyway, that's 11 inches of suspension travel, double A-arms front and rear. Another kind of best-in-class feature here is that it's got 14.2 inches of ground clearance. So that's very slightly ahead of its competition, but it is listed as 14.2 inches. So that's pretty impressive as well. This model comes with some unique features that we'll talk about in a little bit, but for right now, the LE model comes with this big bush bar front bumper. Looks really cool. It seems really tough too. It's made of a thick steel. It's really heavy duty. Comes with the 4,500 pound winch with synthetic cable. Let's see, it's got kind of cool shocks actually. They're different. I think they're just steel bodied nitrogen charged shocks. They're nothing special, but instead of having a snail cam adjuster, they actually have threaded collars for the adjustment. Now the adjustment's only that far on the shock, but it is threaded, so you can fine tune it really, really precisely for whatever kind of cargo capacity or weight limits that you want. It comes with the roof, comes with the mirrors. What else does it come with? Let me see. Oh, has USB charging, comes that way. We'll talk about that in a bit. So around the outside, this looks like a big side-by-side because it is. If you put this up against a Ranger or a Defender, it's the same size, it's the same width. It's obviously a three-seater, comes just like this from the factory. Now, one of the big selling features of any utility side-by-side is the cargo box. This box is massive. ARGO claims this is the largest cargo box in the class, and I would say that it's pretty accurate. When you put it up beside something common, like say a Ranger that we're really used to, this is considerably deeper, which means you can haul more stuff more easily. Obviously, the cargo box is well thought out, well laid out. You've got dividers here if you want to put in 2x6s, 10s, 12s, whatever, and divide your box into different segments. You've got holes here for some sort of accessory mount. ARGO doesn't currently claim they have anything that's accessorized, but they will have a bunch of accessories coming. But these are very common, these mounts, just saying. You got 4 D-ring attachments, one in each corner. Bucket notches here if you're going to run 5-gallon pails to keep them from sliding around. Single-handed tailgate, works really, really nicely. It's super sturdy. You got your Yeti cup holders in here if you want to put your Yeti down there. And if you're going to lie about your fish that you just caught while you're out in the woods, you've got a scale here so you can't lie anymore, which is kind of, actually I kind of like that ruler on there. That's kind of interesting. That's something I haven't really seen on many vehicles, and it makes a lot of sense. It's actually kind of a nice feature. Again, one-handed tailgate, closes up really, really tight, doesn't rattle. I mean, I didn't even have to slam that. You literally just close it. Actually, it's very automotive in how that works. It's really nice. Now this cargo box obviously tips and tilts with one lever. The system works great. The mechanics of that is really, really smooth and easy to do. It tilts to 47 degrees, which apparently is steeper than other vehicles in the class. I don't know, I've never measured that before, but it is really, really steep. It's hydraulically assisted, and the hydraulic assist has a quick release. If you do for some reason want this thing to tip the whole way, or for whatever reason, it's just a quick pull pin and you can take the hydraulic assist lever off and this will tip even further. But this is, yeah, this is really steep. This is steeper than a Ranger. I just used a Ranger and this is steeper, so that's good. Again, up and down, really smooth, works really well. Your tires are not a square pattern. That's pretty common in this class. So you've got wider rims on the back than the front. There's nothing to talk about there. They're 27 inches, as I mentioned before. Heavy duty steel frame for sure. The frame is very burly. Out back, you've got a 2-inch hitch receiver, which is common and standard in this class. It'll tow 2,500 pounds, which is, again, the standard in the class, and that's great. I do like that you actually have a chain hook here, which is cool. You know, if you're worried about safety chains, you can hook them on there. There's multiple locations, and it is really sturdy back there. The only thing I can see being kind of a strange issue is how do you get your pin? It's down in there. That would be really hard to get the pin in to hold your 2-inch receiver in. It's doable. It's just gonna be, you're gonna fiddle around with it. Does have a rear sway bar. That's really nice. I like that. You can see it's got LED lights front and rear. Doesn't have accent lights, but these are super bright. The front lights are kind of HID style lights, and they are also super bright. They kind of look cool with these dual pods in here. I like how that looks. You got high and low beams, obviously, so that's pretty neat. Overall, the look of the vehicle is tough. I think the roof is nice. That's a standard feature. The netting on this thing actually works really well. I'm surprised. So many companies out there have tried really hard to make this portion of the netting right here like high tech with a bracket, and you slide the thing in. Honestly, this one is literally just a nylon strap screwed in, and it works better than almost any of the other ones out there, I think. Anyway, it's sturdy, it's easy to use, it just works. So it's kind of funny, sometimes the simpler solutions are the better ones. Around the front here, I did want to point something out that I noticed when I was checking out the machine before I did this walk around. You pull this hood off, which comes off really smooth. Under here, you've got your intakes for your CVT and your engine. One of the other, I'm not sure which is which, but you actually have a bus bar down here. So there's a whole bunch of accessory mounting locations that are just a plug. So I'm sure there's a standard plug that fits in there, and it's something you can buy, wire up your light bars or whatever else you want to wire up, your coffee maker, and you just plug it right in. I mean, it doesn't get simpler than that. You got a 12-volt post right here, or your fuses, 12-volt post up here. So like there's all kinds of opportunities to mount accessories really easily on this vehicle. It's also interesting there's so much space under here. I mean, you wouldn't want to store anything because it gets sucked into the intake, but I guess if you put like a box or something, or if you stored something that wouldn't get sucked into the intake, it's kind of a cool spot to do it. Lots of room under there. Maybe like a little tool bag would be cool under there. The hood mounts like so many utility vehicle hoods, but I have found this one, like I just showed you, it goes on really smooth. Some of them don't. Some of them you really got to wiggle them and get them in there, but this one goes on smooth. I have to say, it's a great color. It matches my pickup truck. I like the hood, kind of raised hood here in the middle. It looks tough with this accent piece here. I think it looks really tough. Argo's done a great job styling this thing. There's no questions. Just looking down here, I can see it's got some A-arm guards that don't appear to really protect the CV boots, but they protect your A-arms. Has plastic skid plating all the way underneath. I think that's kind of all we can talk about on the outside of it. I mean, there's not much else to say, really. It does have a pretty tight turning radius. Argo is claiming that it has best-in-class turning radius. I haven't measured that, I don't know, but that's what they're saying. And I will say that it is tight, and there's a reason that it can be so tight, and that's what I want to talk about when we go inside here. So I'm just going to climb in. Before I climb in, I guess, it has an adjustable driver's seat and tilt steering wheel, standard stuff. Underneath the passenger seat is a little storage bin, which is kind of cool. You have a center console here that flips down with cup holders and other accessory holders. It doesn't work as an armrest, which is, you know, I mean, it makes sense because of the way that it's shaped, but when I flipped it down, I was hoping it would be an armrest. It's not, but that's okay. And then underneath the passenger seat, you can flip it up as well, and it opens up the passenger side to store larger items, taller items. So that's pretty cool and very useful. As I said, the driver's seat adjusts. But one thing Argo is claiming, and they are not wrong about this, this thing has a ton of legroom. I'm talking more legroom than I think any other side-by-side, certainly any other utility side-by-side I've ever been in. I'm 6'1", and that's the seat all the way back. And it's almost too much legroom. Like, I want to put the seat all the way forward, and it's still a lot of legroom. I mean, this is a spacious side-by-side for sure in this area. There's no cramping whatsoever. When I sit all the way back, my arms are extended. This is awesome. I can really stretch out. Inside, there's a lot of nice amenities. You have multiple cup holders in multiple locations. You have storage bins pretty much everywhere you look. There's some down here, a great big deep storage area here. Upper glove box that's pretty small on this side. And then a lower glove box that's fairly spacious on this side, which is kind of nice. They look like they are not, oh no, there is a rubber seal there, so I don't know if I'd trust that they'd be super waterproof, but they do have a rubber seal, so that's nice. This little tray here, I don't know what that's for, but it's for holding your trinkets. Actually, now I think about it, it'd be a great place for like a flashlight or something like that, or multi-tool. Anyway, your shifter's up here, park, reverse, neutral, high, low. Again, park and transmission works really nice. It's actually a very smooth shifting transmission, very impressive. Something that these companies have always done, like ARGO's always had on their side-by-sides really nice working transmissions, so that's a good thing. As I mentioned, the cup holders are everywhere. What else can we talk about before we get on to stuff here? I got nice padded headrests here, all three of them, so the center rider as well gets a nice padded headrest, so that's cool. I just noticed there's tons of space back here, so if you had like, you know, a coat or something you wanted to carry with you, you could even put a tool bag kind of tucked back in there if you wanted to. There's all kinds of space behind here. That's a little another little cargo area if you wanted to use it. Okay, so interior. Over here you have a 12-volt outlet, like a typical cigarette lighter outlet right there. Rubber is a very sturdy rubber seal on that one. Here you have an included USB outlet, which is really nice. Not everybody's doing that, which seems very surprising, but it's right there. Your winch control is here. There is no wireless or wired winch control with a cable. This is your winch control. Your lights are here, and your 4x4 selector is here. We'll talk about that in a second. And obviously your keys are here. Now you might notice this enormous key ring with so many keys on it, it's not for multiple vehicles, it's all for this vehicle. Now, so as you can see, these keys are actually different, and these both fit in the same ignition. The long key is a learn key. It limits the vehicle to, I believe it's 35 kilometers an hour, maybe it's 40, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. It's like an ignition limiting. It's not a throttle limiter per se, but it's for if you want to use this on a job site. If you want to let somebody that you're not 100% sure they know what they're doing drive this thing. This is at 83 horsepower, 1000 cc side-by-side. This thing is actually fast, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but this is a very smart idea. Now, obviously, you're not going to keep all these keys on one key ring. You're going to have one for you, and you're going to leave this one out there with a different tag on it for anybody else who's using it, and they give you a spare of each. But I just wanted to point out the difference between those two. So that's pretty neat, something that not a lot of people are doing. I will say this though, it doesn't have any drive modes. It's one drive mode only. So generally speaking, other companies would sort of accomplish the same thing with a different drive mode. Some of them even have lockable drive modes, so you can put it into a learn mode on some of the other models. ARGO's doing it with a key. So that's pretty neat, kind of an interesting feature. And I think it's actually really easy to manage because it's literally just, when you walk out in the morning, you hand a guy a key. You don't have to run out and program anything or touch any buttons. You just say, yeah, you want to use the side-by-side? Here's the key, and they can only go so fast. So that's very simple, very easy to manage. The other thing, no, we'll talk about that last. So I did talk about the motor and how powerful this thing is. So it's 83 horsepower, but this is kind of different power than a lot of other side-by-sides in this class. It's similar horsepower to its competition, more, but very close. But it hits hard. Like when you step on the gas, it goes. Some of its competition, I'm thinking Ranger in particular, when you step on it, it's pretty soft. Like it doesn't accelerate hard. It's like they've toned down the clutching so much to just be very smooth and linear, whereas this thing, like you step on it and it puts your head back. It's got lots of power. It goes really fast. I haven't done a top speed run on it yet, but it definitely gets up there. It doesn't run at a speed at top end or run at a steam at top end. So that's cool if you do want to drive it fast. I haven't had a chance to test the suspension to see how smooth it is. We haven't done a full test on it yet. As you know, walkarounds are just preliminary, how I see it, what I think about it before I test it. So we'll talk about that stuff more, but I did take it up the road real quick and it hauls. Okay, so now let's talk about the gauge. Turn the key on here. This has a very bright, very nice looking full color gauge. Put the steering wheel down so you get a better look at it. That has all your information that you could possibly need. You got warning lights up the sides. That's pretty typical. But the gauge itself, as you can see, is really bright. It does have a nighttime mode, and it gives you your gear indicator, your EPS. Oh, that's another thing I forgot to mention. This has tri-mode power steering, 3 different modes. That's adjustable somehow. I haven't figured that out yet, but I'll read the manual. So it tells you what mode you're in for EPS, obviously your RPM, your speed, a bunch of information down here, trip meters and such, another trip meter, temperature stuff down here. And then this is what I want to talk about next. So the gauge is really nice. It's very bright. It's small. I would say, but it is very bright and easy to read, so I do like it. They've done a good job of not overly cluttering it with too much stuff and jamming so much information that you can't actually find what you're looking for. You can actually find what you're looking for just at a quick glance, and that's how a gauge should be. Easy to read, bright, and easy to find the information you want at a glance. So that's the gauge. Now let's talk about the final cool feature of this thing, and it is the 4x4 system. So this ARGO Magnum XF1000 LE has a 5-mode drive system, 5-mode 4x4, whatever, shiftable 4x4 system, whatever you want to call it. So it has one setting that no one else has. So you've got turf mode, and that's one-wheel drive at the back, right? It's unlocked front, no power to the front, unlocked rear diff. So one-wheel drive, we'll say. It then has locked diff 2-wheel drive at the back. These are standard. Everybody has these. It has 4x4 with the rear diff locked and the front diff open. That's a standard one that everybody has. And then fully locked front and rear. Again, standard, everyone has that. Those are the 4 settings that everybody else has on their utility side-by-sides. But ARGO has given you one more. They call it Turf Assist mode, and it is 4-wheel drive with both diffs unlocked. So it's essentially 2-wheel drive, but one front and one rear. And it's pretty cool. So what it does is it allows you to do things in open diff turf mode that you wouldn't have had the traction to do in regular one-wheel drive turf mode. So let's say you're climbing a grassy hill or something, and in one-wheel drive, you know you're gonna spin that rear wheel. Maybe you're hauling a heavy load, and it's just not gonna be enough traction, but you don't wanna tear up the grass by locking the rear diff. You can put it in turf assist. You get 2-wheel drive, one's pulling you, one's pushing you, and you'll make it up that hill without tearing the grass up. Now, it's something that seems so simple and so straightforward, and like, why doesn't everyone do it? But everyone doesn't. Only ARGO does, and I think it's a really, really cool feature. I haven't had a chance to take it out and like really test it to see how it works, but the concept of it makes sense. We know turf mode works at the back. I've used turf mode on grass over and over and never torn my grass up, so why wouldn't it work in the front? I think it would. So basically that's the whole story on this thing. There's not much else to say. It's a great looking side-by-side. It looks tough. I'm looking forward to doing more testing. There will be some accessories coming for it. They have talked about a cab, windshields, and full doors, half doors. There's a bunch of stuff coming hopefully in the future. They've mentioned that. It also has vents up here. I don't know if you noticed this, but for like heater vents. So there's got to be a heater somewhere. It even has them up here to defrost a windshield. So obviously it's been designed with heat in mind, and we'll see what happens in the future with that. But for right now, this is what you get, and it's pretty impressive. If you're looking to get into utility side-by-side and you're looking to have some money left in your pocket, this may be the very best way to do it. Time will tell once we test it. Stay tuned for that. But for right now, I can't believe the retail price that ARGO has put on this thing. It's almost shocking. That's my walk around video of this new vehicle. I'm super pumped about it. I know you guys got to hear it run before we go. So I'll put it in neutral and I'll rev it up for you, and then we'll finish this up. There you go. That's how it sounds. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. If you haven't already, make sure you turn the bell on so you get notified of all the new videos we have coming out. They're coming out pretty rapid fire this time of year. Click that like button if you like this video, and make sure you subscribe to our channel if you want to get all notifications of all the things we got coming out in the future. There's lots of stuff going on here at Dirt Trax this time of year, so you won't be bored and you won't regret hitting that subscribe button for sure. Other than that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.